Okay, so wait a little bit and okay, so now we could normalize it. Also check if the this should be mute. So mute YouTube because otherwise people will hear twice. Okay, so this is it.
Just have to get a drink.
No, wszystko dobrze. No nie, wszystko dobrze, jesteśmy już na YouTubie.
Aha, no to czemu jeszcze tu czekamy?
No nie wiem, no bo co mamy robić? Trochę słabe.
No i jest tydzień.
Thank you. All right, thank you. What's that? Oh, thanks. I'll just get her to go the other way. So we're going to start, so now when you come and go, you can go around the other way.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Would you like to prostrate together? Please sit. If you were standing, I'm joined here by two of our fellow students, Venerable Wongo and Venerable Yangchen. So maybe when we have a break, you can say hello. So lovely to see you. And okay, so maybe some people could be joining us. Sorry, I remember to look. Where am I looking? There. I have the computer here, so I'm trying not to look at the computer because otherwise you get my side profile all the time, which is fine from my side, but yeah. So the two new venerables celebrating their first week of ordination, rejoicing. And anyway, joining here for this meditation retreat, home retreat. So I hope you've set up your very good conducive circumstances in your home environment. As you can see, we've got very good conducive circumstances here in our home environment. So welcome back to Chenrezig Institute. Very appropriate, isn't it? Chenrezig, as the Buddha of great compassion, Bodhicitta, so as our inspiration. So we will engage in a few meditations today and tomorrow morning, which for those of you who are studying this module as Discovering Buddhism students, then this is the retreat component of that. So normally in pre-COVID and post-COVID, we would be gathered here together, but we are gathered here together, just we're virtually gathered. So, so we are together, so we can feel that as Lama Zopa Rinpoche says, always when we're doing practice, if we have the opportunity to do together, that's the most powerful. And I think we know that from our own experience, don't we? That, you know, you meditate with others, and you feel the power because you've got the synergy of everybody practicing together. So even though we might be in separate locations, and we are indeed in separate locations, we can think that we're all together and we're tapping into each other's energy and setting a strong motivation for our practice to generate this infinite compassion. As His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, the thing most needed in the world is compassion. Of course, we can see that. We can see that, particularly at this time. We think of all the people who are being affected by coronavirus, which is the whole world is being affected by that. You know, those who have lost their lives, those on the front lines, those who are suffering from the agonies, you know, just hearing some of the stories of what it does to your lungs. It's just beyond imagining, really, the pain and people go through. Not everybody, but those who are in intensive care. So we can hold of course, all those people in mind. And here we are in the presence of the Buddha Chenrezig. Here we have the Buddha Chenrezig at Chenrezig Institute. So how very wonderful to inspire our practice. In fact, so inspiring that, you know, Chenrezig Institute was the first center established by our lamas up here. You can see on the screen.
Yep, have.
You can see the bottom parts.
Yeah.
Lama Zopa Rinpoche and of course Lama Tubten Yeshe, you know, so our precious lamas, that this being the first center set up outside of Asia, I say, you know, Nepal, India. So very important, obviously, the first one being named Chenrezig Institute. Great compassion. So, and then of course, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the, you know, irrefutable Buddha of compassion in the world, you know, the great Chenrezig himself. And, you know, we will start with a meditation on Chenrezig. So on this visualization, and then engaging in some practice in relation to that visualization. Thinking of the power of the Buddha of compassion, we can think of His Holiness the Dalai Lama as a living example, and then it makes it more real, isn't it, in our minds? Or we can think of our lamas who just ooze compassion from every pore, it seems. And then we have the mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of great compassion. Om, the enlightened state of a Buddha. Om Ahum, body, enlightened body, speech, and mind of the Buddha. Mani being the jewel. So here we have, you know, in the hands of Chenrezig, the gorgeous, precious jewel of compassion. And when we, you know, do our prostrations, we think of holding a jewel and offering a jewel, you know, putting our hands at our crown, at our, create the causes to have the Ushanisha, at our forehead, create the cause for the holy body of a Buddha, purifying our own ordinary body, and then throat, purifying our own ordinary speech, pure speech of a Buddha, pure mantra, and then heart, purifying our ordinary everyday mind and having the pure mind of the Buddha. In other words, having purified all the afflictive states of mind or the disturbing states of mind, and having cultivated infinite qualities to their most complete, fullest extent, perfected all the positive qualities. So every single representation here has deep meaning. So we can think like that when we engage in the meditation, visualization meditation. So thinking like that. So we're combining, a calm abiding meditation, focus concentration meditation on the aspect of Arya Chenrezig, also with analytical meditation as we go through. Okay. And to start with, the visualization that we're using is from the Nyungne text, which is extensive practice on Chenrezig, which, of course, those of you wishing to complete the Discovering Buddhism is 3 Nyungnes. I was going to check. I think one of our students, student at Langri Tampa and then at Vajrayana Centre in Sydney, went over to France to do the 108 Nyungnes starting last November. I think they might have finished. I'm not sure. I think they might have finished. Pretty amazing, isn't it? You do those. I saw one nun after 25. Her skin was translucent. So we can think of that, the rays of light from Chenrezig and the purity of the body, generating that as we go through. Okay. So set yourself in a conducive posture for meditation. Bringing body, speech, and mind to a state of stillness, relaxation, balance. Think how wonderful it is to have this opportunity to be able to be inspired, to have made the connection with the Buddha Chenrezig, either in the person of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, well, both, isn't it? And also Chenrezig, representation here, Chenrezig Institute. Thinking what this itself is a ripening of so much virtue we've gathered from past lives arising in this moment, in this opportunity, with all the conducive conditions coming together. So precious, so rare in this world. Then as we go through the visualization of Chenrezig, don't stress out about trying to hold all those, 1,000 arms and all the implements and everything. Don't hold the mind tight. Don't squeeze the mind. Just, get a sense of that you're in the presence of living Chenrezig. So not, just a statue of whatever it's made of. It is in the nature of light, and you are in that presence, receiving the blessings of Chenrezig. And that any time in the visualization where you get a clear, vivid sense of Chenrezig, hold your mind on that, stabilize your mind on that. And when that clarity starts to weaken, then continue on. So in the middle of a 8-petaled lotus is standing Arya Chenrezig. Light rays radiate out in all directions. So Adya Chenrezig radiating rays of light, his holy body in the prime of youth, white, translucent, brilliant, radiant. Of the 11 faces, the central face is white, the right green, and the left red. Above that, the central face is green, the right red, and the left white. Above that, the central face is red, the right white, and the left green. They all have long, narrow eyes and smiling expressions, smiling at you, rejoicing in your practice, and at all other beings out of great compassion. Above these is a wrathful, dark face with bared fangs and wrathful wrinkles, a third eye and orange hair standing upright. This is the wrathful aspect of Chenrezig. And on the crown is a peaceful red face with a crown protrusion. The Buddha Amitabha. We also have another image which you can't see of Buddha Amitabha, but those who've been here, you know that there's, a big image of Buddha Amitabha. Infinite light of the lotus family, of which is the family of Chenrezig. Amitabha having a chaste aspect, devoid of ornaments, with his own neck. So the first two hands of Chenrezig hold a jewel at the heart, the jewel of compassion, mani. The second right hand holds a rosary. The third eliminates the hunger and thirst of the hungry ghosts, sending down stream of nectar from the mudra of granting sublime realizations, open, palm downwards, sending down to the lower realms so that they receive that nectar in whatever way is soothing for their minds. The hot hells getting soothing, cool, refreshing breezes. Those in the cold hells getting warmth and so forth to pacify their minds. Did I say that the right way? I hope. There's the hungry ghosts, the predator realm, who are just never get any satisfaction. Normally that nectar would be like pus for them, but here they receive it as nutrition. In the animal realm, soothing their fears and anxieties. And the second left hand holds a golden lotus with a stem. The third holds a water vessel, and the fourth holds a bow and arrow. Arya Chenrezig is beautified with precious ornaments and garments of the most exquisite silks. So holding as much as you can, this visualization, and thinking, as it says, as Bhikshuni Lakshmi in the praise to Avalokiteshvara, thinking Chenrezig is the protector of the world, praised by all the holy beings by Brahma, and think that by praising Chenrezig ourselves, all beings fulfill their wishes. So we can hold a mind of veneration, respect, prostration to Arya Chenrezig. Who dispels the hungry ghost, hunger and thirst with the right hand of supreme giving, shining with red yellow garlands of scented hair, the central face white like a full moon, like the light of 1,000 full moons, completely pure, radiant white light. Having supremely good and encompassing lotus eyes. Fragrant and white like a conch shell. Wearing clusters of flawless glittering pearls. Adorned by beams, beautified like the red of the dawn. Hands arranged like a lotus lake. Each of the hands, 992 hands, all the way down, all around, each of them holding an eye that is able to see all the suffering of all beings in all directions, arranged around the body like a lotus lake, being the color of autumn clouds and soft as lotus petals. The shoulders adorned with many jewels, and soft young palms like exquisite leaves. The left shoulder draped by a deerskin, beautified by ornaments, earrings, and bracelets, all the precious jewels, representing all the realizations of Arya Chenrezig, radiating brilliant light in all directions. Standing on a supreme stainless lotus. His abdomen is as smooth as lotus petals, having a finest golden belt adorned with precious jewels, wearing a shamtab, the lower robe of fine silk, divine cloth. Having the supreme exalted knowledge of a Buddha, unified with all the compassion, all the infinite Bodhicitta of all the Buddhas of 10 directions. Having attained this state by having continuously collected vast merits, engaging in the great Bodhisattva deeds, source of continuous joy. We can think about His Holiness the Dalai Lama as an example of this Buddha of compassion, of being a source of joy to so many in the world. And of hope, and of possibility, and of compassion. Liberator of all beings, of the desire realm, formist realm, supreme among the Buddhas, having attained victory over the afflicted states of mind, over death, over the aggregates, the ordinary contaminated aggregates that we experience, our body and mind, with its limitations and its confusion, pollution. The feet of Arya Chenrezig make the sound of golden anklets. And he moves like with a swan's gait, like a swan just glides. And like a great proud elephant, able to, have great power, the great power of all the Buddhas. Having accumulated all perfect merit and seeking to give the doctrine, to teach, to free beings from suffering. That is the aspiration of a Buddha. Liberator from those of us drowning in an ocean of samsara. And as Bhikshuni Lakshmi says, by directing our mind toward Arya Chenrezig, by reflecting on this praise, reciting this praise, reflecting on the praise, this supreme praise, clearly, purely, all our worldly and transcendental wishes in this life and all future lives will be fulfilled. So holding as much as you can of this visualization in your awareness so that it becomes stable, stay relaxed and comfortable and open to Chenrezig's serene, loving, compassionate energy, filling your heart, filling your mind, filling every atom of your body. And then make a strong request from your heart to the Buddha Chenrezig to overcome all our own misconceptions, confusions, disturbing states of mind, negative energy, to enable us to become more and more like the Buddha Chenrezig, more and more be able to develop pure love and compassion for all beings. And generating that request, feel that you're connecting with your own innate compassion, your true nature, your highest potential. Everything that is positive and pure is innate to us, is natural. It is who we are. Feel that. And Chenrezig, Arya Chenrezig, The Buddha of great compassion, of course, responds immediately to your request and sends down loving streams of blissful white light with nectar on every beams to soothe, to heal, filling every cell, every atom of your body, from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, out to all the extremities of your fingers, everywhere in your body, every atom, molecule, completely filled with this radiant, blissful compassion of Arya Chenrezig. Feel that as this radiant white light or nectar fills your body, it purifies all negative karmas, all negative tendencies of our mind, everything that disturbs us, keeps us awake at night, confuses us, makes us angry, anxious, afraid, despair, completely purified. All the problems, all the difficulties, all past harmful actions, any potential to give harm in the future, completely dissolves, disappears. It's a radiant, blissful, compassionate, kind energy of Chenrezig, fills your body, fills your mind. Completely filling you with limitless love, limitless compassion. And your body completely transforms like precious crystal, clean, clear, light, blissful, radiant. And your mind peaceful, clear, like, water where all the impurities have been removed, completely clear. The cooling waters of compassion, filling your mind, filling every atom of your being. And then feel that all of space is filled with infinite beings arising in human form, sitting around you, extending towards a horizon. So all the beings in all the realms of existence, gazillions, gazillions, gazillions. Particularly bring to mind those who are close, who are dear to you, those who recently passed away, those who are suffering and ill, those who are close to you. Family members around you, behind you, your friends, those you have difficulty with, particularly in front. We always want to put them behind, but put them in front. They're our objects of compassion, and all other sentient beings. And think about the sufferings they experience. So think about those who are close to you. You already know the sort of sufferings they're going through, whether physical or psychological, emotional problems they're experiencing. feel just like you. They want to be free of all that suffering. And how wonderful it would be if they would be free of all that and could experience this joy, this peace, this blissful state of the awakening mind, of enlightenment, of bodhicitta. And think of those who've harmed you, those you don't like, those who irritate you, the ones in front. Imagine their suffering, their physical pain, their emotional pain, the pain of their anger or nastiness or bitterness or so forth, of loneliness, insecurity, fear, dissatisfaction. Just like you, they want to be free of all that. They want to be free of these disturbances, these problems that haunt them, but they have no choice. Just like us, they're doing the best they can. As long as their minds are confused and ignorant of reality, just like us, they can find no peace. So allow your heart to soften, just like Arya Chenrezig, to soften, to open towards those you would normally respond to with irritation or anger or avoidance, dismissal. Soften, open your hearts to them. And then you can expand your awareness to open your heart and mind to all other beings with troubles and pains, particularly holding in mind, those in the countries and areas most affected by the coronavirus, the pandemic, and so forth. Or those affected, of course, then we have all the other disasters happening in the world, like the plane crash in Karachi and other disasters in the world. War zones, refugees. And then all the animals, fear and anxiety, all whose minds are totally uncontrolled and suffering. Think at this time how, because of the change in human habits, how that's also affecting the animals. Of course, some way in good ways it looks like, but recognizing our interdependence and impact, they know there's something wrong, right? Balance. Allow that strong aspiration to grow within yourself to, if you could, relieve them of their suffering. This is the great compassion of a great bodhisattva. To work on our own mind, our own misconceptions and negative energy, and gradually develop not only the wisdom in sync with reality, but the compassion for others, especially those not having such precious means as we have to be able to work with our minds, or having the means but not the conditions. And feel this light, this radiant, blissful light from Arya Chenrezig radiates out to all of these beings you visualized in front, around you, above, below. Radiating out towards them, purifying their negative energy and filling them with great bliss. So holding that visualization as strongly as you can. As if you're familiar with the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum, you can recite that. Otherwise, as those of us who do recite, you can feel that energy of Chenrezig reaching out to all beings, those close in your neighborhood, those further out, until the whole world spreading this powerful mantra of compassion, soothing hearts and minds of all beings, relieving them of suffering. And if there's anyone in particular that you wish to hold in your mind at this point, do that. You know, it's good to make it specific and not just an unclear image or feeling. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. And visualize Buddha Chenrezig in front, rises up and comes above the crown of your head, dissolves into blissful, radiant white light. The lotus dissolves up into his body, and that dissolves down to blissful, radiant white light, which flows down through the crown and reaches into your heart center, center of your chest, heart chakra. And feel that your mind merges indistinguishably with the pure, compassionate, loving mind of Chenrezig. And feel that your mind experiences great tranquility, great bliss. Really feel that. Abide in that for as long as you can. And anytime your usual sense of ordinary I, me arises, the I that is restless, distracted, think, this is not who I truly am. Simply bring your attention back again and again to this experience of your mind, the mind of Chenrezig being inseparable, infinite, loving, compassionate, kind. This is me. This is who I really am. And then, bringing this meditation to a close, we can dedicate all the positive energy, the powerful positive energy we've generated here together to continue to grow in our own minds, in the minds of all beings, to arise in the minds of beings where it has not yet arisen, so that all beings may experience happiness, lasting happiness. Okay. So then you can, in your own time, open your eyes, adjust to the light, to the sights around you, holding that jewel of compassion in your heart forever. And you might need a little stretch, a little wiggle, stand up, walk around if you want, or just to release any tension in the body. Hopefully there's not any, but there might be. So I noticed, Venerable Gompo, thank you very much. The 108 Nyungnes in Nalanda, Institute Vajrayogini rather, finish on Sakadawa, 5th of June. So this was the plan here to not, it was sort of like 108 minus the 100. The plan was we would have 8 happening here this year until coronavirus interrupted that plan, which we're going to finish on Sakadawa as well. So we can rejoice that it was no impediment for them, Institute Vajrayogini, or at least not that impediment. I'm sure there were many, because that's what purification practice does. Okay. Has Ingrid joined us? Because I can't see everybody who's here. Are you there, Ingrid? So I thought not. Sadly, Ingrid's father passed away. Ingrid's one of our one of our precious Dharma jewels, Discovering Buddhism course. And her father has passed away in Germany. And so, of course, oh, you are there, Ingrid. Hello, Ingrid. We just wanted to be able to, I think we can dedicate our practice to the, as I mentioned the other day, we dedicate our prayers here for 49 days, to someone who's passed away. And then that we dedicate our practice holding in mind, of course, Ingrid's father, Theo, or maybe Theo in German, is it? Theo. And her mother, Laurie. Sorry, I might be pronouncing wrong, is all I'm saying. I know how it's spelled. And also Ingrid's family and so forth at this very difficult time. But by holding in our hearts, we can send particularly people we are close to, we connect with them on a different level, and so sending all our prayers and our wishes and you know, may that suffering of, well, that, you know, he has been released from the suffering of that body. But the karmic connection goes on and on, lifetime to lifetime and lifetime. So. Okay. All right. So generally, we're engaging in oh, somebody saying? Oh, thank you. Yes. So generally, we're engaging in meditation practice, and at this point, we would have some little discussion, or you know, so forth. If there's anything anyone wishes to say on this topic before we go on to another meditation, or you know, share anything about your experience, perhaps Gompo, of doing Nyungnes, or or the practice of Chenrezig. So this is one of the, obviously one of the main practices to inspire us to recall the qualities of Chenrezig. Why? Because it's to see that we are able to cultivate those qualities. And then we have all the backstories, as I say, but the previous lives of all the Buddhas, and tell you that examples of what of the practices, of how to engage in the practices. Like last, when we had the 2 weekends previously on the teaching side, we last time looked at the 6 perfections, and, you know, which is the activities of the Bodhisattva, or the practices that we do as we go about our daily life. And then, of course, cultivating that within our own mind, which is already innate. Even Charles Darwin observed that. I mean, Charles Darwin, not even, Charles Darwin did observe, you know, as human beings, we're compelled towards compassion. So we had discussion about that last time. I have to look this way. Love Nyungnes, Gompo. Yes, I know you love Nyungnes. We're missing them. I keep thinking, is there some way we can do them? I mean, maybe some of us here can. I'll talk to Venerable Elsa. She's a little bit busy at the moment. Oh, okay. Well, let's talk. You got a plan? We've got a plan. Okay, we can make something happen. So good. I'm glad you've been thinking about that, because I'm sure, you know, the regular, there's a inspiring regular. What's happening? No plan as yet. Yep. We'll talk. No plan as yet. We'll talk. Okay. Of course, you can do at home, Gompo. You know how to do. And Leonie. Yeah, something we used to in Sydney. We had at Vajrayana Institute, there were people who did a lot of home Nyungnes. So they would come in and get the mandala house and then take it home. And you can't take this mandala house home, I realized. It's rather big, the one down here. So, but anyway, Gary very kindly made me one that was just like this, you know, just doweling, roof, bottom. Easy. Okay. All right. So are we ready for, have you stretched and jiggled and whatever? We're ready for another meditation. So today last time we introduced the 2 main methods of cultivating the mind of bodhicitta, cultivating the, you know, good heart, as the Dalai Lama said. And these 2 main methods that we looked at, the 7-point cause and effect, and then the exchanging self for others. So I thought this morning we'll go through the 7-point cause and effect, some meditations on that, and then tomorrow more on the exchanging self with others, which includes, you know, I think people, our minds turn to the practice of Tonglen, taking and giving. So there's a number of approaches to that in terms of meditation practice. So we'll go through those tomorrow. Focus today on the 7-point cause and effect. And it's been a wonderful, whatever you call, synchronicity with those of us who have been here with Geshe Sultram, you know, starting the teachings on the Bodhisattva's way of life and, you know, sort of touching on these topics at the same time. So that, you know, I know some of us online and here have been engaging in that as well. And so that's been very enriching to, you know, just, you know, really there's a lot of focus on compassion, isn't there? There's a lot of focus on Venerable Wangmo's nodding. Okay, so but to do that, either method is on the foundation of a mind of equanimity or even mindedness, because at the moment our mind is very discriminatory. Of course, discriminating wisdom we need to have, but discrimination that is unhelpful, that puts people in these different boxes. You're my friend if you help, and you're my enemy if you don't help me, or if you do something I don't like. That's just to put it crudely, but we're always making critical judgments and so forth, having an impartial mind and even an indifferent mind for people who do neither harm nor help. But we know that a Buddha helps all beings regardless of if they help, harm or do neither. So we want to cultivate that aspect of our mind in order to be able to then, on the basis of that, generate a genuine love, genuine kindness, you know, and expand that into great compassion and expand that heart more and more to the mind of bodhicitta. So we start with equanimity. Excuse me. Okay, so resuming your preferred meditation posture. So sitting comfortably, a state of balance and ease. Bringing your mind into the space of your body and just focusing on your breath and relinquishing any tension, tightness. Just feel it softening with the breath out, letting go, so your body settles more and more in a state of comfort and ease. So making the body a conducive environment for your mind to settle in order to meditate. We know it's not the body that is the meditator, but we know our body can distract us from that because of discomfort. And even without physical discomfort, the mind can distract that. So releasing any tension around any distractions, any thoughts and so forth, any time throughout the meditation. Simply bringing your awareness to the breath to allow the mind to settle into a conducive state. A state of stillness, relaxation and alertness. And then visualize in the space in front of you 3 people, actual people, someone you like, you're already close to, someone you dislike, you go out of your way to avoid, or they irritate you, disturb your mind, and someone else who's not so familiar to you, but a real person, someone you see, but you don't really know them. We call this one stranger because we don't know them, even though they may be sort of someone that we even interact with at the checkout or something like that we see around. And just hold those images of those beings, those people in the space in front as we go through this meditation. So focus on the person that you like, or the person that is close to you, or you love even, someone who's dear to your heart, someone you feel is crucial even to your well-being. And think, this is someone for whom, yes, I have love, but probably also attachment, because we are in samsara. We are in a desire realm. We are going to have the mind of attachment, my self-cherishing, likes or loves this person. And place your attention on them, really tend to their perspective. See from their point of view, so that you really see them as a fellow human being, just like yourself, with both defects and excellent qualities. And ask yourself, why is it that you like or love this person? Find what your reasons are. Is it mainly because what they do for you, how they make you feel? A person for whom you feel affection and attachment has their own desires, their own hopes, their own fears. And step back and attend to this person again from the outside, and think about your reasons for holding them dear, and think, are these good reasons? Are they valid? This person is not a true source of your happiness, security, or joy. We can see that, particularly if we've been around them for a long time. That our happiness, our joy can only arise from our own heart and mind. And then look at the one who you dislike, who you perceive as being intent on bringing you harm or depriving you of happiness. You feel some conflict with them. And again, think, why do I feel that way? Of course, I can point to a lot of things about them. How is my ego involved? How is my self-cherishing disturbed by them? And see if you can place yourself from their perspective, their point of view, stepping into their experience, even though you may not want to, experiencing their hopes, their fears, from the inside. And think, this person too just wants to experience happiness, freedom from suffering. Just like me. And then take a step back outside and really attend to this person, recognizing they're not the source of all your distress or anxiety. See if you can recognize that if you can. Or even any of your distress and anxiety. And think about the reasons for disliking someone, treating them badly or wishing them harm. Is it valid? Is it helpful? Is it beneficial? And recognize that responding with anger, irritation, whatever uneasiness we have in relationship to this person comes from our side, comes from your own heart, your own mind, not the other person. After all, we know there are others who love them, who hold them dear, so they're not inherently enemy out there. And what about the person that you feel indifferent towards, the merely labeled stranger? Again, shifting to their perspective, your awareness, shift your awareness to view the world from their eyes. Of course, we're less familiar with them, but they're a fellow human being. They too, like us, want happiness and freedom from pain, fear and insecurity. And from their perspective, look back at yourself. So regardless of the distinct defects or excellent qualities this person might have, regardless of all that, a Buddha doesn't discriminate. They too are yearning for happiness and the wish to be free from pain and grief. So we can, maybe call to mind the people who are serving on the front line, the people who are serving us in the stores and so forth, just wanting to not catch anything from us or give anything to us either. They too are yearning for happiness and freedom from pain and grief. Same as me, completely identical in that way. So even though this person isn't close to the center of your own circle of friends, your personal universe, their well-being is no less significant than that of the ones we hold dear to us, who we regard as crucial to our happiness. And think, is my indifference to them purely on the basis of, well, they neither help nor harm me? So where ego is involved, the self-cherishing mind is involved. And having considered these three persons, look at how we perceive our relationships. Do we hold that as a permanent, fixed label? Our relationships being always like that? Do you think you'll always get along with your friend or your dear loved one? I mean, history tells us that isn't true. Or that you will never get along with the one you hold as enemy, holding on grudges from years gone by. Or that you will always be unfamiliar with the one you hold indifference towards. If we look at your own relationships in the past, you can see friends have become enemies, strangers have become friends, even friends have become strangers. All these relationships are not fixed, even in this life. So imagine if your friend, who you visualized in front, the one you're dear to, your loved one, did something hurtful or unacceptable. How would your feelings towards them change? And think, before you met them, they weren't your friend, they were in the stranger category, most likely. And the possibility is, even this life, they could easily cease to be your friend in future, even in this life. So there's no sound reason, if we apply reasoning to feeling kind and loving only towards my friend of this moment. Similarly, with the one you dislike, so-called enemy, imagine them doing something kind or helpful, praising you for something, helping you, fix your car, or looking after you. And see, contemplating that possibility, does that soften your attitude towards them, your feelings towards them? So that one we hold as distant as our object of compassion, we can learn to feel warmly towards them. It's happened before, it will happen again. So why hold strongly to this idea, this conception, this mere thought of that person as my enemy? Similarly with the one who we're indifferent towards, the merely labelled stranger. Imagine them doing something helpful. Maybe they're already doing that, we just don't notice. But imagine them, giving you directions when you're lost, someone you meet and they give you directions, or you picking up your wallet and giving it to you when you drop it, or, anything. And see how your feelings towards them change. And not just this lifetime, but this has been going on lifetime to lifetime to lifetime, if we can accept that we have had previous lives to get where we are today. All of these relationships, completely different, lifetime to lifetime. Just think, the person I dislike was my best friend. It's hard to probably think that even. We can see that even this lifetime, so we can make the conclusion we've been doing the same thing over and over again. So imagine the pure depths of your own awareness, unsullied by the obscuration of our self-centered attachment and aversion. Imagine that as an orb of white light as your heart, at your heart. And as you breathe out, let the light spread out evenly in all directions to all persons, regardless of whether they help, harm, or do neither, or if you don't even know them. All persons, think, may each one, including myself, find happiness. May each one, including myself, be free of suffering. May each one, including myself, be free of the causes of suffering. And imagine that flood of light going out in all directions, like rays of light of the sun going out, illuminating the world, soothing all those who are distressed, bringing healing, happiness, and a sense of well-being to everyone without exception. And imagine with the breath in, drawing in that distress that causes unhappiness and pain to each being. Imagine this as a dark cloud dissolving into the light, completely dispelling the darkness at your heart, softening your heart. And imagine in this way, all beings are free from suffering and its causes. And then resting for a moment without bringing anything at all to mind, settling your mind in its own natural state, its own state of even-mindedness, its own nature, with no object, no subject. This is the even-mindedness that is the foundation of all spiritual practice. Really hold that in your mind, dwell there. And again, hold that precious even-mindedness as a warmth at your heart, softening your heart. Inviting the courage of a bodhisattva to work continuously for the welfare of all sentient beings. May I do all this by myself alone. Okay, so then relax. Open your eyes, adjust to the light around you. I think it's time, folks, to introduce you to Venerable Wongmo and Venerable Yangshan, if they would like to come forward. Come around. I think some of you have seen a sneak preview online. Come in here. Come down. Yep, sorry, you come down. Yep, we're cracking knees. I'm sure we can all relate to that. Venerable Yeshe Wongmo, Venerable Yeshe Yangshan.
Hello, everybody.
You can unmute yourself and, I don't know,
Clap.
say something.
Clap.
Collective clapping.
Uh,
Wah, wah, we have Virginia. Hey. Yeah. Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, fantastic.
It's amazing what you can do in lockdown.
Great achievement.
What Geshe-la can do in lockdown.
What Geshe-la can do in lockdown. So
oh,
we're 1 week old nuns.
Babies.
wow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you look like you have been in robes forever.
They do, don't they? They're naturals. They're naturals. Yeah, it's wonderful. So they've expanded our nuns community. Thank you very much. Along with their other. So we had 2 Yeshe Wongmos. So the other Yeshe Wongmo is going to go by Yeshe and this one by Wongmo. So that when we're together, we just say, oh, Yeshe Wongmo. And Venerable Yangshan and Venerable
Yangshan.
Kunpen. So
Kunpen.
Kunpen, 4 new nuns. So, wow, just great delights. Yeah, I don't know. Have you come down off cloud 9?
No.
It's been a wonderful.
No.
You want to say something? No, they don't want to say anything. They're such
No.
at the moment, a bit shy. So,
Mm.
blessings. So happy. Thanks, Kate. Yeah. I think we can. Sarah.
Hola.
Hola.
Hola, venerables.
So get yourself a cuppa. Shall we have a 10-minute break? So get yourself a cuppa. Leave the sound on. I think most of you are unmuted yourself. I don't know if you want to keep chatting to these girls or chat amongst yourselves. Everyone's mics are on if you want to have a chat. And yeah, about 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Get out of here. They're learning the robes.
Not the ropes, the robes.
The ropes, the robes, ropes.
I'm here to give you a hand for a moment.
Well, if I can just here, get you on it. Yeah, there we go. I just needed to
Gigi,
lean on
sit there.
something.
You've got something between your legs, Jackie, I don't.
No, I can feel it. Thank you. You know, you don't have to sit down, but you could just, oh, you could sit on here.
I need to,
Yeah, you could sit on this if you want.
I didn't even know that was here until last Saturday. I'll sit on Geshe-La's step. Oh.
I'll be back.
So one more,
Yes.
1 week already.
Yes.
So, and anything particular that's been astonishing this week, or different? You know, obviously very, very different. But yeah, how does it feel after 1 week?
I'm still just very, very happy. and just rejoicing in the fact that this could happen. You know, it's just amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I pinch
yeah.
myself and say, oh, what have I done? What merit, you know, do I have? What have I done to have, you know, got myself to this point here? It's just, yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember doing anything amazing, but I must have at some point.
Oh no, it's wonderful. Yeah. Sorry, keep going. Yeah.
Oh no, it's just, yes, I must have done something pretty good in a previous life to get to this point, because it's pretty awesome.
How long you've had the aspiration to become a nun for?
Maybe a year, a bit less maybe.
Yeah.
But once you decide, I think, once you start to think about it, you know pretty well straight away whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
Well, Wamo, did you bring Maitreya with you?
No, I haven't got Maitreya here with me. For those who aren't aware, Maitreya is a pet bird who makes a lot of noise. She's often in the background on Zoom when I'm at home. Yes. But no, she's probably screaming, but we just can't hear her. No, I might go and stretch my legs because I've been.
That sounds good, Deb. I'm going to go and put the kettle on and make a quick cuppa.
Oh, that sounds like.
Oh, one mo.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
It's been a long time knowing you before, and
Yes.
and I still see those dreadlocks, and you know. Hey, but you know, I'll get there.
Yes.
I'll just have to mind my speech.
Yes, well,
and it's good practice for me.
yeah, well, it's the same for us. I forget sometimes too, particularly with young Chen, because she's been Sky for so long, but now she's young Chen. So
exactly, It's been several years. So
yes.
Bless you both, and go and stretch your legs and make a cuppa.
Yes. Okay.
Catch you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Everyone back? Everyone got your cuppa or had your cuppa? Oh, I don't know. Did I have some water here before? Could you get me some water? Sorry, I did have some and now I don't. I thought I drank it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Kylie, congratulations. How's Luke?
He's good.
Oh, it's Luke, hey? You decided.
He's old.
How many days?
Kylie, congratulations.
Yeah. Luke won.
Blessing.
I like Luke. I was going to say Luke, but I thought it's not really my business.
Nice. Well, there you go.
How many days now,
6 days
Kylie?
old and he's already doing some teachings. Lucky him, hey?
Wow.
Oh, wonderful.
When was born?
Last Sunday.
Ooh, 6 days. Oh, look at him. Oh, bye.
Yeah, we thought we were. Where's the baby? We thought we were going to have a ordination and a new baby on the same day, but it was
Yeah,
pretty.
it nearly happened. It nearly happened. Very
Awesome.
close. Very close.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Oh,
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else want to share some wonderful news?
No, I haven't got a baby.
It's not the only wonderful news one can
Haven't been
have.
ordained.
You got enlightened.
I want to say, Kylie, I want to see the baby again. I
Oh,
just came and sat back down and I didn't see it for show me the baby. I saw it on Facebook. Congratulations, you're a mummy.
All rubbed up a little bit here.
He's
Oh,
covering.
Hi. Yeah.
Look like he's got a face.
beautiful. And you're well?
Yeah.
Well.
We're good.
You're all well.
You look great.
Pull the blanket down a little bit so I can see his face. All I can see is this bald head. I want details.
No.
Yeah, speak, Kylie, so you
You
come up
probably
on the big
spent the
screen.
whole morning going, ooh, ah.
Kylie, you have to
I've just got
speak
him
so
up
that-
actually.
so that you come on the big screen. You have to speak, Kylie, so you come into the big screen.
What do I do? Sorry.
That's it.
Yeah,
When
you
you
are in the
speak, you come into big screen.
Oh, okay. All
Ah.
right. I've got Lukey Luke so they can see you. Yeah. Look at
What was that?
Look. Everybody wants to have a look at you.
Hey, do you know you're all on YouTube? Oh, no, you're not. Okay, no problems. You're not. Okay. It's a private
Okay.
little conversation. Okay, so I also think people, or quite a few of you are aware that next weekend, His Holiness the Dalai Lama is giving the great Chenrezig empowerment.
We're doing that one. Luke.
So, wow. So that is, it's Friday, Saturday. It was Saturday, Sunday, now changed to Friday, Saturday, 1:30 p.m. our time. Saturday, yeah, Friday, Saturday. And during the week, Geshe Sultan, because of the place we're in the text, has been talking quite a bit about making extensive offerings. And without giving the direct instruction, it has occurred that, seeing we are Chenrezig, and to invite Chenrezig empowerment with His Holiness Chenrezig, we're on a theme here, to make extensive offerings here. So those of you who may be joining at home, think about that too, because so precious that, up until very recently, empowerments were given in the, sort of, you needed to be in the same physical space. And of course, over the past few years, His Holiness Dalai Lama and Lama Zopa Rinpoche has been giving all these transmissions online, and probably other lamas as well, that, from the great wisdom of their own minds to know that, that we're able to receive that. Of course, they say, there's a few provisos from our side, like single pointed concentration, like not, anyway, to really participate in those, should you wish to participate in those, receiving that, or at least receiving as a blessing of Chenrezig. So it's a great opportunity. We plan to be Zooming in from here, and I'm sure, many of you will be Zooming in as well, as well as many people around the world. So what an amazing opportunity to participate in that. So if you're going to, just make sure everything's as if you were inviting, as if His Holiness was right there in your home. Well, that's a bit of spring cleaning, isn't it? But why not? Absolutely. Okay. So, we'll proceed through the 7-point cause and effect. I think I'll break it up we'll break it up into a few different meditations. And what I wanted to say was, if I remember, we'll take another break at some point in that, depending on the timing of it. So I won't give a fixed time. Okay, so once again, settling yourself into your meditation posture. And taking a few minutes, just focusing on the breath, bringing your awareness into the space of our body, and just focusing on the breath flowing in and out at the opening of the nostrils, letting go of thoughts, relinquishing attachment to the thoughts. Thoughts come and go. That's what the mind does. It's the job of the mind. We don't want to stop it thinking. We want to stop our distraction to getting caught up in everything that just pops into our mind. So training the mind to settle, being aware of any distractions. As soon as we're aware, relax, release the distraction, and bring your awareness back to breath. No judgment, no criticism, no stories. Just gently, firmly bring your attention back to the breath. And generating an pure altruistic motivation for engaging in this meditation on the 7 techniques of Mahayana cause and effect. Think, I'm not just doing this for my own benefit, intellectual or emotional benefit, but I'm taking this time now to cultivate the mind of Bodhicitta, the awakening mind of enlightenment, with the vast wish to attain enlightenment, to become a Buddha, to most skillfully benefit all sentient beings without exception. And really feeling this motivation sinking into the depths of your heart. So I'll guide you through the steps of the points. So as we already establish equanimity as the foundation for generating the mind of bodhicitta. Considering that all beings without exception, human, non-human, friend, enemy, stranger, all want to be happy, even though we're confused about how to find happiness, and all want to be free from suffering. Of course, all beings are aware of the suffering of pain and loss and so forth. However, the real one to focus on is that no matter where we're born, in whatever realm of existence in samsara, is in the nature of suffering, the pervasive suffering of conditionality, of having these aggregates of body and mind, contaminated aggregates. As we previously meditated, we can reflect that the differences we perceive between our dear loved ones, our friends, and so forth, and those we regard as enemies and those we're indifferent towards, is merely an attitude produced by my mind. There's nothing inherent from the side of those beings themselves that places them in this category. It's a result of my mind. We can think that the enemy anyway is the object of my patience to control my anger. So in fact, I should delight in them. I should not hate them, at least. And strengthening this mind brings peace in my own mental continuum. We can also think that they're under the control of all their own negative karmas, or their anger and so forth. And if I had clear wisdom, I could see that harming others with anger, dislike, and so forth is in fact harming myself. All of these beings, regardless, friend, enemy, stranger, are all objects of the Buddha's compassion, Arya Chenrezig's infinite compassion. The numberless Buddhas hold all these beings most precious, most dear in their heart, and know how to guide them, each and every one. So even lightly harming any being brings harm to infinite Buddhas. So mindlessly harming any living being for my own peace or the peace of my confused mind is an act of a mind like stone. And if I want to harm the enemy, which is my mind, if I destroy the outer enemy instead, it's like shooting my friend and not shooting the enemy by not recognizing the object. So if I want to harm that enemy, I should harm the inner enemy, put the blame on the one, the ego, self-cherishing mind. The inner realization of this is what brings subdued mind, peace, indestructible as a diamond. The enjoyment of this peace is invaluable and knows no end. If I reflect on the continuity of mind, that this present moment of me meditating comes from a previous moment of me meditating and so forth, tracking back, before that, tracking back, having a break, tracking back and so forth to this morning, this week, this month, this year, this life, through infinite lifetimes. And going forward into infinite lifetimes in the future. So the mind moments can only arise from a previous moment of mind. So if we think about all the countless past lives, that in each and every one of these countless past lives, we've had a mother who cared for us. So since mind is beginningless, since beginningless lives, I've had infinite mothers. So it wouldn't be logical to think my mother of this life was my mother in all previous lives, just having reflected on the changing nature of our relationships. So it's impossible to point to even one sentient being and say, you have not been my mother. All sentient beings have been my mother at one time or another. So contemplate deeply this connection to every being until you feel in your heart there isn't even one sentient being who hasn't been your mother in the past. On a basis of recognizing that all sentient beings have been my mother, we can contemplate the kindness of the mother, of all mother sentient beings. So we can think, we've just had Mother's Day, right? Even in the world, people are grateful for the kindness of the mother, which extends from conception until death. Even those mothers we're estranged from, or fathers we're estranged from, or some people who've had that caring role in our life. It's through the kindness of my mother that I've had all the opportunities, that I'm even alive. And the mother taking care in her womb. And And then whether or not our mother was the one who raised us as infants, someone who played that role, taught us everything. We couldn't even feed ourselves. We couldn't even do anything for ourselves, even wiping our bottoms, you know, everything. If she hadn't fed me, I wouldn't be enjoying all the various functions of my body, my eyes to see the most beautiful objects, my ears to hear the most beautiful sounds, my nose to smell the sweetest perfumes, my tongue to enjoy the most delicious tastes, my body to enjoy all the sensual sensations, to enjoy sexual love, to have many children. To have the first child. Everything, every skill of my body, speech, and mind, or my creativity, my intellect, everything depends on the kindness of the mother, taking care, protecting from danger. Making me study. Being concerned and worried about my welfare day and night, even in the womb, making sure the baby was healthy as possible, taking care with, you know, giving up food that wasn't helpful, or, you know, having months of morning sickness, which is morning, noon, and night sickness. Everything. All of our inner qualities, all our opportunities, all our good characteristics have developed because of the kindness of our mother. And it has been like this since beginningless time, in all previous lives. Infinite kindness since time without beginning. As Nagarjuna said, the amount of milk we have drunk from one mother is greater than the amount of water in the ocean. So, reflecting that all beings have been my mother, I have received the same kindness from each and every sentient being since time without beginning. Just as my present mother has been infinitely kind, so have all my past mothers, every life. Every life that's led to my fruition in this life, running towards a Dharma, having a precious human rebirth, all the causes and conditions to develop ourselves on the spiritual path, to ourselves, be like the Mother Buddha towards all beings. So throughout all these rebirths, human, non-human, whatever, every single enjoyment and need, food, drink, clothes, shelter, education, medicine, all kinds of love. In fact, in this life, even not thinking of our past life mothers, there's nothing I can point to that hasn't come from the kindness of others. Continues to be, isn't it? All our food, all our medicine, all our shelter, everything. Every single sentient beings, a lot of them given their lives just for me to have one meal. Inconceivable kindness of unimaginable number of beings. So they all deserve my respect, my full attention, my care, my kindness. Wishing to repay that kindness is the only reasonable response towards all beings, my kind mothers. So allow that feeling to develop strongly in your heart of all the ways that mother beings have been so kind, so precious, held us so dear. And think, having reflected in this way, how kind all beings have been, our kind mothers, continue to be our kind mothers, will continue to be our kind mothers. How can I ignore that? How can I ignore their kindness? I must repay that immense kindness in the best way possible. The best way possible is to introduce them to the Dharma. Not to try and convert everyone to being Buddhist, using skillful means as a Buddha does. Having these exceptional opportunities, having this precious human rebirth with its freedoms and endowments, with the leisures and opportunities, gives me every fortunate circumstance, condition to be able to repay their kindness. Here we are. We've met the Dharma, the authentic, genuine Dharma, an authentic lineage all the way back to Shakyamuni Buddha. We have fully qualified teachers, wonderful teachers. His Holiness Dalai Lama, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, Geshe Sutrim here, all our precious teachers, fully qualified, wonderful, tirelessly working for our benefit. We have all the best conditions to practice the teachings, make it accessible in our language, at our level. So I can't waste a precious moment of this perfect human rebirth. I must repay sentient beings for their kindness by liberating them from their suffering and bringing them true happiness, all the happiness they wish for. Contemplate that again and again and again. Let it sink into your heart. We can think that in the world, people without any faith, without any religion, without any spiritual path, feel the responsibility of repaying their help, even paying forward their help received from their mother, other people who've helped. Giving food, giving medicine, saying nice words. Even animals, dogs and so forth, help their, human friend in return for kindness. It is in our nature. Repaying all these kind mother sentient beings with the true realization of the Dharma, all the Dharma methods, all the wisdom, compassion, the methods and understanding at whatever level we have is what will help them ultimately overcome their problems and fulfill their wishes for happiness now and into the future. Please bless my mind to generate true, effortless compassion like that of a mother for her precious, beautiful baby. Thinking all beings, just think of the fear in the world right now, people living with torment and anguish and anxiety and pain. All these beings have been my mother and have been constantly kind to me. May I take the responsibility to lead them all to enlightenment by myself alone. Holding that vast wish in your heart. Relax, open your eyes, adjust to the light, sights around you, happy, refreshed. In this icy weather, we can think of all beings in the cold hells. Send them warmth.
My car said it was 12 degrees on my way out here.
Your car was 12 degrees.
It told me it was on the outside.
On the outside. Feel a warmth on the inside.
24 on the inside.
24 on the inside. Okay, so do people want to take another break, or are we okay to go on with another meditation? We're okay to go on? We okay? Everyone, people go okay to go on? Just send a thumbs up. There's somewhere on there on the chat you can send a thumbs up. Okay, anyway, we will then. So just have a stretch out, stand up if you've been sitting, if you wish, to just relax the body a bit. So we just covered the first halfway we are. First 3 points. It's almost halfway to 7. So we have remaining great love, great compassion, generating the special, extraordinary, altruistic thought, which then, from which arises the mind of bodhicitta. So that's where we're heading. Any questions, comments? Okay to go. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Okay, then. So we'll continue on. Once again, settling back into a state of balance, relaxation, your body, mind, conducive to meditation. In other words, bring your body to a state of stillness and allowing your mind to settle in on the comings and goings of the breath in their natural rhythm. No need to change anything. It's breath's doing a perfect job so far, keeping you alive. So keep going along that. So it's not about the breath, but by focusing our breath, it brings our awareness into the present moment. And by the way, does have a naturally calming effect. We don't have to say calm down, but it gives us just the mind instead of racing around here and there, just focusing on one thing. So just the comings and goings of the breath in its natural rhythm, in and out, wherever you experience that in your body. Breathing into, in particular, into any parts of your body that experience tension or discomfort or feel constricted, and allow that area to receive the warmth of your breath and soften, relax, let go. And take 3 deep breaths and breathe in through your nostrils down to your belly, and then expand your diaphragm and then the chest. Exhaling effortlessly, setting your body into its state of rest. And then continue on again, focusing on the breath and its natural rhythm. Unconstrained by thoughts, emotions, distractions. In a state of relaxation, stillness, and clarity, which means light. From within this state of stillness, just contemplate What would I love to receive from the world in order to have a happy, meaningful, fulfilling life? Maybe the comforts of food and housing and clothing, medicines, medical care, to the material aspect, or perhaps the more intangible, having a sense of well-being, harmony with others, with the environment, companionship, wise spiritual guidance on your spiritual path. To really call all those things at mind that you yearn for to make your life meaningful, fulfilling. And generate the wish that these be fulfilled, your authentic desires be fulfilled. And then think more deeply about what you would love to receive from those around you, from the environment, to help you have the happiness you seek. Whatever you would envisage that enables you to fulfill your heart's desire, your genuine happiness. And imagine the world rising up to greet you and granting you all the support you need to fulfill your aspirations. Really feel that. You are the recipient of loving kindness. And then contemplate for yourself that transformation in your own mind to be the bestower of a similar loving kindness towards others without exception. Repaying the kindness with great love, great loving concern for every living being without exception. May I become the source of their happiness. You can transform a body and mind to a wish-granting jewel, just like the Buddha Chenrezig, the jewel of compassion, granting all that other beings similarly need, desire, to make their lives safe, meaningful, fulfilling. And imagine that transformation to become that being, that bestower of kindness towards others is actually occurring here and now. We are changing moment to moment. We can channel that change into generating great love, wishing all my kind mother sentient beings receive every happiness, every joy, everything their hearts desire. Infinite love, unconditional love. And on top of this, make the determination in your mind to bring every sentient being every happiness they wish for. Taking on this responsibility makes it great love. I will do this. We can think that we are, each and every one of us, impacting on the environment, on our fellow human beings and non-human beings in this world, moment by moment. Think, what do I want my impact to be? What can I offer to all those around me and to the environment at large? What do I envision in repaying the kindness with great love? Motivated by the great love, like a mother has for her only child. And generating a mind, having generated the mind of great love, wishing for the happiness of all beings, without exception. On that basis, generating a mind of great compassion. We all have a mind of compassionate concern. So the great compassion that is based on a even-mindedness, equanimity towards all sentient beings without exception. For example, thinking about the suffering, wishing beings to be free of suffering. Think, for example, the suffering of an animal being slaughtered. Think about the suffering of the person doing the slaughtering, you know. Unbearable suffering is like this, the unbearable suffering that sentient beings constantly experience is just like that. All of us, sentient beings, ourselves and others, wanting to be happy, absolutely, wanting every cause for happiness, wanting every experience of happiness, but at the same time, creating endlessly our own sufferings and causes for future suffering, endlessly. To think about every being of every realm of existence in the whole of samsara. think if I could, I would relieve their suffering immediately. I can't bear, just like the Buddha Chenrezig, practicing great compassion for all sentient beings without exception. And then that moment of seeing that didn't relieve anyone's suffering, the great moment of despair that split his body into 1,000 pieces, and then generated out of that great compassion, infinite compassion, Buddha Amitabha coming back and piecing Chenrezig back with those, 1,000-arm Chenrezig, infinitely, constantly working for the benefit of all beings without exception, not bearing to see the unbearable suffering. So reflecting on all the sufferings of all beings in all realms of existence, maybe starting with those you're aware of in this world, easier, your friends, your family, a whole world, coronavirus, pandemic, the wars and so forth. Just reflecting on all the different experiences of suffering of sentient beings, to feel unbearable sadness arise, just like the Buddha Chenrezig, wishing them to be free right now from every single suffering and cause of suffering. Can't bear to see it. Can't bear to have it ourselves. Same way, all others. Wishing them to be free. So you can think about someone close to you suffering physical distress, psychological distress. And think, when you pay them full attention, caring for them, attending to their needs, you're offering yourself to them. That's your most important gift, to attend to someone with a loving, compassionate heart. So start with this person close to you. Let them fill your heart and mind. If you know the causes of their pain, their suffering, be present with that as well. Imagine shifting yourself to their perspective as if you were having that same suffering, or maybe you can identify with that same suffering because you know it yourself. This is the gift of our shared human experience. And then return to your own experience, your own perspective, and allow that yearning to grow. May you be free of all that. May you be free of this unbearable pain and suffering and its causes. And imagine they are free. Imagine they receive whatever they need to be free of that and to lead a happy, contented, peaceful life, meaningful life. And then call to mind someone else who equally wishes to be free of suffering, but unknowingly, because of their own confusion and ignorance and delusion, which is all of us, causes their own suffering and those around them. imagines experiencing their difficulties, their problems, their fears, their anxieties. And wish them to be free of all that, to be free of all their deluded states of mind, or their mental disturbances, afflictions, negative emotions, negative thoughts, destructive behavior. And from your heart, send that compassionate energy towards them, wishing them to be totally free right now of all of that without exception. May you have a peaceful, safe, healthy, happy life. So extending that to each individual in each and every realm of existence. May you be free of your suffering and the causes of suffering, unbearable suffering. Just in the human realm, it's bad enough, let alone contemplating the unbearable suffering of hell realm's existence, the hottest hell of Avicii, where one tiny fire spark on the body is equal to all the fire systems of this world. So unimaginable. That's just one tiny fire spark. Unbearable suffering. Or the icy cold hells. You know, now we're a bit uncomfortable with the cold. But imagine that intensified a gazillion times. And there's a lot more beings in the hell realms than there are in the human realm by far. Suffering endlessly, unbearably. So our wish for them all to be free of that is infinite compassion, infinite. And taking the responsibility, I must free all beings from that, makes it great compassion. Allow that to sink into the depths of your heart. Let the scope of your awareness extend around the world to anywhere where there's suffering from hunger, thirst, poverty, misery, war, social injustice, pandemic, imbalances in people's minds and lives. And really hold dear that we are all deserving of compassion, especially when we act from our own confusion, deluded states of mind, harming others, harming ourselves. And really generate a heartfelt embrace of the world. May we all be free of suffering and its true causes. May we all help ease each other's pains. In this way, generating the most extraordinary thought, this special resolve that I will take the responsibility for this by myself alone. The mind that it sees, just like Arya Chenrezig, unbearable that sentient beings are so overwhelmed by suffering and can't seem to find the happiness they deserve, or look in all the wrong places, get confused. I can't wait for someone else to do it. I can't rely on that happening. I must overcome their suffering and guide them to achieve happiness. I will do this. I can. Well, maybe not yet. So, of course, right now, I don't have that capacity. But by training our minds in this way, just as a mother takes on the responsibility for the child, or even just as the child takes on the responsibility for their parents to save them when they're in danger, so it is my responsibility to free all mother sentient beings. And to bring them to the state free of all suffering, which is perfect, genuine, uncontaminated happiness, which is Buddhahood. To do this, there's only one way I can do that. I don't have the capacity right now. I must myself work on my own mind, become a Buddha, progress on the path to enlightenment as swiftly as possible for the welfare of all beings without exception. So contemplate this deeply till it permeates your heart through and through, completely. Even though I have the determination to become a Buddha, to relieve the suffering of the world, in my current state, I'm still controlled myself by afflictive states of mind, negative emotions, destructive thoughts, contaminated karma. I can't even liberate myself at this point, let alone anyone else. So for the sake of liberating all these kind mother sentient beings I can't bear to see the suffering of, for the sole purpose of liberating them from suffering and leading them to enlightenment, I will become a Buddha as swiftly as possible. Achieve the exalted supreme state of enlightenment, knowing all the dispositions of all beings without exception, knowing exactly how to guide all beings to their own freedom, their own enlightenment, their own genuine happiness. And the only way I can do that is by following in the footsteps of all the Buddhas, all the Bodhisattvas, who all generated Bodhicitta on the basis of great compassion, on the basis of compassion, on the basis of love, great love. On the basis of a mind of equanimity. Wishing to repay the kindness of all our kind mother sentient beings. This is the way, the only way. May the precious supreme jewel, Bodhicitta, not arisen, arise and grow. May that which has arisen not decrease, but increase more and more in my own heart and the hearts of all beings without exception. So hold that aspiration as a precious jewel in your heart. And when you're ready, holding that strong determination in your heart, not letting the energy of that go, but when you're ready, you can gradually return your awareness to where you're sitting, the space around you, open your eyes and adjust to the light, to the sights around you. Yeah, where's the heater gone? Is the heater on in front of you? Is it on? Sorry, folks. That was too much information. Okay, so I thought that to bring this session to a close for today, we could reflect on the 4 immeasurable thoughts, which it brings all this together as well in a nice little package. And then, as I mentioned earlier, then tomorrow we're focusing more on the practices around exchanging self with others, which then, in an advanced technique, you combine these 2 methods together into the 11 points. But anyway, we'll cover the package, which each and every one of those can be an individual, of course, meditation on its own, you know, to cultivate these different, the minds of loving concern, the mind of loving kindness, mind of equanimity, the mind of loving kindness, the mind of compassion, the mind of wishing we repay the kindness of all our kind mother sentient beings, and so cherishing others more than self, the mind of taking responsibility to bring them all to enlightenment by myself alone, which means becoming a Buddha myself in the first place. So all of that can be very many elaborate meditations. And this whole topic is so rich, and there's so many different meditations on compassion and generating the mind of bodhicitta. Great books devoted to this topic. I did want to mention, you know, it's no longer active, it would appear, but some years ago, you know, FPMT in North America established His Holiness the Dalai Lama's birthday as like International Day of, or National Day for them, but anyway, International Day, we all came on board, of compassion. So there was a website, compassionday.org, that's not there anymore. Or at least on my last Google search, not there anymore. But people shared all sorts of activities, not just, there were the meditations. So Venerable Sangye Kadro, the meditation on compassion, and then loving kindness, Maitreya Buddha, we'll do that one tomorrow morning. So people shared, other Sangha shared meditations as well. But also other activities, you know, with the prison project we had, we wrote to the prisoners and said, you know, if you want to send a message to the Dalai Lama for his birthday, well, we got artwork, we got poetry, we got lighter, and all this was put together for His Holiness that particular year. So that was just, you know, always very inspiring to think that. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, His Holiness next week, giving the Chenrezig empowerment, which is, how amazing is that? We are so blessed. Okay. So yes, so a question. Is it Anari? Anari?
Anari.
Anari, right. Why are there so many beings in the hell realms? So I think when we contemplate what it takes to have a human rebirth, and then a precious human rebirth, is on the basis of the practice of ethics in the context of having vows, and in terms of precious human rebirth, in other words, us here, of having vows in previous lives. So by taking the vows in this life, creating those conditions for future lives, not just the vows and keeping them, by the way, but also making stainless prayers, you know, as we are doing in these contemplations, these reflections, these meditations, and doing that over and over again, you know, may I become a Buddha to benefit beings, and making those aspirations, strong aspirations. And the practice of the six perfections, particularly the practice, well, the first two, ethics already mentioned, practice of generosity, which smashes, you know, the practice of generosity, the wish to give, even you've got nothing physical to give, but the wish to give from your heart is the practice of generosity. So these things is what it takes to be born human, precious human rebirth, but also on the basis of ethics is a human rebirth anyway, already that alone. So, so hell realm, like the mind of anger is, and on the basis of which you kill and so forth, is destined for hell, and you don't ever regret it. Like, and then it manifests in the mind, because even as Pabonka Rinpoche says in Liberation Palm of Your Hand, you know, you kill a mosquito, one, right? And you don't purify that. In other words, you don't apply the four opponent powers, which, in other words, we don't generate, first of all, regret, and purify that, see the error of our ways and wish to not repeat that behavior again, and make a determination and so forth, and do practices to purify our mind. If you don't do that and you just let it fester in your mind, within 2 weeks, the karma of that is equivalent to killing a human being, right? And so if you don't purify that, then it just magnifies. At the time of death, mind of anger, a mind of, strong mind like that, you'll get a hell being rebirth. So there are many, many aspects to karma. It's a huge, huge topic, but it's sort of a warning of the dangers and how easy it is. If you look at the world, how much quickness there is to anger in the world, it's prevalent, isn't it? So this is so dangerous, and this mind of love is a strong antidote to anger. It's the exact opposite. So we have to cultivate the exact opposite minds. So it's all got to do with what we do with our minds. What was that? Oh, good on you, Eve. Eva, sorry, Eva. Yes, put in an advertisement for the Dharma Buddies. So this is the collective of everybody who ever popped into a DB session on Zoom or in real time here. It's to be Dharma supports, because we need that. We need that to, we want to develop this courageous mind. We need each other, right? Now more than ever. Okay, so maybe now we've just got a few minutes. We'll just read through, as our closing dedication, read through the 4 immeasurable thoughts, summation of all we've been doing this morning. And those who have the FPMT retreat prayer book, so we're doing the long form, it's on page 85. So we'll finish with that for today. Okay. If you don't have, or you're not familiar with, then just listen, reflect that in your mind. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were to abide in equanimity, free from the closeness of attachment and the distance of hatred. May they abide in equanimity. I myself will cause them to abide in equanimity. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were to achieve Buddhahood. May they achieve Buddhahood. I myself will cause them to achieve Buddhahood. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they be free from suffering and its causes. I myself will cause them to be free from suffering and its causes. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. How wonderful it would be if all sentient beings were never separated from the happiness of higher rebirth and liberation. May they never be separated from these. I myself will cause them never to be separated from these. Please, Guru Deity, bless me to be able to do this. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Hopefully you can all join in tomorrow morning as well. I think also if anybody who's joining us newly today and wants any of the Discovering Buddhism materials, or you didn't receive or so forth, just also, pop me an email, the db@chenrezig.com.au one, which is, I think that's online where the register for this program. Please, you're quite welcome. So thank you very much. And see you tomorrow morning. Okay. Do you girls want to say goodbye? Come on. New nuns coming. Say goodbye.
Yes, yes.
For now.
Thank you.
Done there.
Thank you, Yang Chen.
We're the three sisters.
Oh, one more, Yang Chen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. Stay well.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
See you
See ya.
tomorrow.